Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to kindly again invite you to take your respective seats as we are about to start with the closing session of the 11th Bali Democracy Forum. To those who are still outside and to those who are still standing, can we kindly invite you to take your respective seat so that we can proceed with the closing session of the 11th Bali Democracy Forum. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Vice Minister of the Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency I am Fahir.
Excellencies, distinguished delegate, ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the closing session of the 11th Bali Democracy Forum. The contribution of all participants through statements in the plenary and general debate, as well as exchanges in panel discussion are indeed very enlightening, enriching, and fruitful. In short, the forum has provided us with opportunity to not only exchange views, but also to generate creative thoughts that we all can learn from each other. I wish to underline that the discussion and the panels has established constructive ground for exchanges ideas, visions, and steps on which we can further develop democracy and effective governance on our respective countries and within the regions. It is indeed a process that all of us can benefit from. In this regard, I would like to invite each chairperson or representative of the Second Bali Democracy Students' Conference to share with us and highlights the outcome of discussion in the respective conference. I have the honor now to invite Faith 4 from Zimbabwe, representing Bali Democracy Students' Conference. You have the floor.
A pleasant day to you all, honorable ministers, honorable vice ministers, our respective ambassadors. It is my pleasure to stand in front of you to deliver what we have discussed so far. My name is Faithful, and I'm from Zimbabwe, Southern Africa. Here is the outcome of the 11th BALI Democracy Student Conference, Democracy for Prosperity, Youth Perspectives. Nusa Dua Bali, Indonesia, from 6 to 7 December of the year 2018. Youth make change. We, 137 students from various universities in 58 countries have gathered in Nusa Dua, Bali, Indonesia from the 6th of December to the 7th of December 2018 to participate in the 2nd Bali Democracy Student Conference held parallel with the 11th Bali Democracy Forum. Recalling the spirit of voice of the youth, as the outcome document of the 1st Bali Democracy Student Conference held in Sepang, Banten, Indonesia in 2017. Recalling United Nations General Assembly Resolution 58/133 on policies and programs involving youth, enshrined therein the necessity of youth involvement in decision-making processes for sustainable economic growth and social development. Having discussed the issues and shared our views and experience on the challenges of making democracy that delivers prosperity, particularly with regard to pertinent issues such as education, politics, gender, technology, innovation, prosperity, and social media. Recognizing the important role of youth as future leaders in the democratic processes in their own countries and in global settings by involving youth in crucial decision-making processes through youth representation and capacity building in order to bring prosperity to the wider society. Noting the necessity of a transparent and accountable government that is responsible to the needs and interests of its people, including nurturing youth and their passion, ideas, and creativity in order to encourage the growth of a strong and resilient democracy. Recognizing that youth makes up a vast majority of social media users, whereby many of the trends and norms of interaction in social media are spearheaded by them. Reaffirming the importance of encouraging the development of democracy in corresponding institutions, and in particular in developing countries. Considering the dependence of every sphere of life in policies of respective countries of origin. We agreed to propose these two sets of recommendations for all youth. Making democratic institutions and inclusive prosperity. Number one, youth and education are two inseparable variables to create positive changes in society and contribute to making inclusive democracy and prosperity. Youth should actively engage in the effort of making education accessible for all people and create a conducive environment for the open expression of opinion, knowledge, and experience. Number two, youth should assert themselves and contribute to create a stable and viable democracy whenever possible. Youth should play their role to promote more participation in politics, deliver positive changes in the societies, and create an understanding that democracy is the key to prosperity. Number 3, the rise of populism and intolerance hampers the exercise of democracy. Youth should take an active participation in creating religious tolerance, mutual understanding, and respect in order to establish a harmonious and peaceful society. Youth should practice the habit of interfaith dialogue that is effective in contributing to inclusive democratic practices and prosperity, as well as using education as the key to eradicate prejudice towards religious differences. Number 4, gender equality is an essential part of inclusive economic growth and is critical for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Therefore, its realization requires not only commitment of the government, but also the active contribution and leadership of the youth. Women and civil societies for their environment. The youth must be the leading agent in shaping new gender-inclusive policies and take the best approaches to support gender equality. Then the second session, technology, innovation, and the future of prosperity. Number 1, no other generation is as closely intertwined with technology as the youth. Youth should take advantage of their familiarity to technology and make good use of myriad advancements of technology. This should be achieved by democracy for prosperity, including reaching out to marginalized members of society and underdeveloped rural areas to equip them with necessary tools to achieve prosperity through education that is encouraged by technological platforms. Number 2, youth is full of energy, ideas, and creativity. This energy and drive should be channeled in a productive manner through innovation to improve their environment. The youth should be empowered to create innovation and uphold the democratic values that can support their creativity. Number 3, as the backbone and the future of the world, youth should avail themselves as the guardians of values and agents of change from inside and out of the government to promote good governance. A government in touch with new technology and trends should be able to facilitate and encourage its people to achieve prosperity. Number 4, youth should be aware of the world-changing potential of digital communication to promote responsible use of social media and fight against hoaxes and fake news, to facilitate the spread of inclusive democracy for the benefit of humanity. Lastly, we would like to extend our gratitude and appreciation to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, and suggest that the 3rd Bali Democracy Student Conference to be held next year, students should be included in practical discussions with state representatives to enhance their participation and capacity building on various topics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Faith for her comprehensive conclusion. Honestly, I feel like I am among them, at least in spirit, being young. I would now invite Mr. Priyanka Hetiarachi and Ahmad Jauhar to share the outcome of Bali Civil Society and Media Forum. Your floor.
Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you. Your Excellencies, Chairman, this is outcomes from Bali Civil Society and Media Forum, Nusa Dua, Bali, 6 until 7 December 2018. The Bali Civil Society and Media Forum 2018 was held on 6 and 7 December 2018 in Nusa Dua, Bali, Indonesia. As annual event, this was the first time that BCSMF, our Bali Civil Society and Media Forum, was held as a parallel and integral part of the Bali Democracy Forum. BCSMF was attended by 100 participants from 10 countries, consisting of civil society organizations, media, and scholars. Also present are representatives of government, diplomatic corps, and international organizations. The BCSMF 2018 is organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic Indonesia in cooperation with the Institute of Peace and Democracy, the Indonesian Press Council, and supported by Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, Westminster Foundation for Democracy, and UNDP Indonesia. The forum served as an avenue for sharing experiences and lesson learning on what democratic elements are the most salient in enabling to deliver prosperity. The forum also discussed variety of experiences in developing policies and strategies required to produce prosperity. The forum explored conditions required to enable the state, society, and politics working in synergy, particularly in the current circumstances where populism, identity politics, and corruption challenge in many democracies to the point of disfiguration. The forum also introduced ideas to restructure regional and global architectures to make democracy delivers development, particularly prosperity. Bianca, my resume.
Ladies and gentlemen, this outcomes document is going to be circulated amongst all of you. We would like to acknowledge the remarks of Dr. Siswa Pramono, the head of the Policy Analysis and Planning Agency, representing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, who emphasized why approaching democracy's disfigurement and the prospect of prosperity was a timely topic. The importance of the expectations of the millennials and Generation Z, and also an invitation to the leadership of the private sector, civil society, the state and media to contribute to this. The Vice Chairman of the Indonesian Press Council, Dr. Ahmad Jauhar, noticed the importance of focusing on political sensationalism and analyzing hoaxes as a way of looking into how sectarian-based politics and identity politics and how these are aggravated by the misuse of social media. Of course, Dr. Hassan Wiriuda, the founder of the BDF, focused his remarks on democracy in the contemporary era, drawing our attention to the growth of populism and narrow nationalism in different types of democracies around the world, and how it is we need to explore homegrown and inclusive solutions going forwards. The forum was divided into 4 sessions. I do not propose to read all of the points that came out of the 4 sessions. I will summarize each of them very shortly. The first session focused on migration, populism, identity politics, and corruption. The key points that came out of this was the importance of seeing migration as a part of our civilization and something that contributes to human advancement. Of course, the challenges of migration also need to be understood. On the issue of corruption, there was the importance of strengthening election monitoring and taking other initiatives, such as emphasizing to political candidates the importance of mechanisms to tackle corruption. Participants highlighted the importance of sharing experience and best practices from civil society and media. The second session focused on hoaxes, sensationalism, and political bias. It drew attention to journalists' ethics as a key element in providing credible news and information to the public. The discussion also focused on Indonesia's experience during regional and national elections, where negative campaigns and political bias of media were seen to undermine fair and objective reporting. The third session looked at what the state, regional, and global changing contours are, and focused very much on scientific methods of looking at questions around democracy and prosperity. Various findings of scholars suggested that the world is still more democratic compared to the last century. The reverse trend is currently evident, especially due to attacks on media and civil society. Free media and civil society matters for economic development, and their restriction for political reasons come with economic costs, such as reduced productivity growth. Focusing on Asia, we see that Asia's consolidating and aspiring democracies still outperform most autocracies. For example, 7 of 9 democracies in Asia score above average in terms of economic transformation, whereas in the case of the autocracies, it's only 4 out of 12. The fourth session looked at reconfiguring democracy and the prospects for prosperity. It acknowledged that in confronting the challenges faced by democracies, democracy must be capable of delivering results which include the growing prosperity of people. Prosperity itself must be viewed from a perspective that goes beyond economic growth and mere economic aggregates. It needs to cover human development aspects. The Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, provides a potential for democracies to frame the needed results for this prosperity. And of course, a peaceful, prosperous, and inclusive Indo-Pacific would be an effective vehicle for the achievement of prosperity in the region. The various success stories of governments, civil society, and private sector collaboration are modalities for Indonesia to continue its pioneering role in promoting SDGs in its region. Finally, the 6 recommendations out of our session and the way forward. The first one, develop narrative and learning capacity of democracy that can be better understood by different groups, especially the millennials, in order to reduce the appeal of polarizing populism and to reduce the use of identity politics that invite conflicts among society. Recommendation 2, facilitate the broadening of understanding of how democracy works to deliver prosperity, translating campaign promises to reality and the things in between, which is part of democracy dynamics that require tolerance and wisdom to appreciate diversity as a part of a quality democracy. The third recommendation, encourage democracies to have domestic mechanisms to monitor the politicians and political parties, including party campaign financing and the misuse of media for spreading hatred in order to win elections by any means. Fourthly, encourage democracies to develop ways to protect society from hate speech, and while doing this, while upholding the freedom of expression. Fifth, support research, knowledge, development, and management that promote the enhancement of the quality of democracy. Sixth, promote collaboration and support structures for the SDGs, aligning with this evolving concept of a prosperous and inclusive Indo-Pacific. The structure ought to be inclusive and participatory in nature, involving governments, academics, civil society and media, and the private sector, as mandated by the no one left behind principle of the SDGs. Final recommendation, encourage democratic institutions to explore new technologies and techniques that engage wider segments of society in deliberative and participatory democratic practices. The participants extend appreciation of the effective organizing of the forum, which is in parallel an integrated part of the Bali Democracy Forum, and we welcome the same arrangement in the future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I thank Mr. Priyanka Hetriarachi and Ahmad Jauhar for their informative report. And Excellencies, distinguished delegate, ladies and gentlemen, to follow the tradition in Bali Democracy Forum, as a substantive result of this year's forum, the chair issued a statement capturing the views expressed during the plenary as well as in the discussion of the two panels. I wish to convey the outcome of the 11th BALI Democracy Forum in the form of chair statement. It will be distributed and circulated to you. Now, this is the final session of 11th BALI Democracy Forum, and this is the first meeting of the second decade of the forum, and we have experienced in two-day discussion that the format of the meeting have been adjusted in order to provide more interaction and discussion. Indeed, this is actually based on suggestion by the participants themselves and widely welcomed by the forum. This adjusted format also provides the participant with wider opportunity to share their perspective on the many pertinent issues. This has been a uniqueness of the Bali Democracy Forum, in which all participants are comfortable to exchange views, experiences, and ways to address the challenges in our journey of making the democratic value systems. Obviously, it would be impossible for myself, I certainly would not pretend that I'm able to do so, to summarize in the limited time that I have the rich discussion, the very useful and productive discussion that we have had over the past 2 days. But I would like to share some thought for our future activities. I believe that these have also been highlighted in the chair statement. First, democracy is a work in progress. Values of democracy should not be reduced to traditional measurements of prosperity, rather be based on a more holistic approach. It requires respect, recognition, partnership, and inclusivity. Prosperity should not only be measured by monetary values, but can also be reflected by the well-being of its people. Second, stability, rules-based order, and good governance are some vital keys to functioning democracy. Public consultation allows government to capture the views and aspirations of its citizens. Moreover, adapting innovation to technology will drive the economic growth. In turn, having a growing economy is important in stabilizing and safeguarding democracy. Well, based on the suggestion by our millennials, we may also consider that next year we'll discuss about democracy in millennial era. Third, all of us are facing the challenges in implementing democracy, which provides prosperity for all. One solution that Indonesia advances in this forum of addressing the challenges is an inclusive democracy as a solution. Inclusive democracy, which is no one left behind. Democracies that unites, not divide, provides hope, not fear, and empowers, not weakens. To achieve an inclusive democracy, all stakeholders' participation is vital, in particular, those of the private sector, youth, and women. Excellencies, I would like also to highlight the two forums conducted in parallel of the 11th BDF. The second Bali Democracy Student Conference as a forum to pass the torch of the spirit of democracy to the youth have deliberated that youth and education are two inseparable variables to create positive changes in society, as well as contribute in making inclusive democracy and prosperity. The Bali Civil Society and Media Forum have emphasized, among others, the importance of common learning and sharing experience mechanism between civil society and media to counter the challenges of democracy. Peaceful, prosperous, and inclusive Indo-Pacific would be an effective vehicle for achievement of prosperity in the region. With various success stories of government, civil society, and private sector collaboration, we should all play a role in promoting SDGs in the region. I would like to once again thank all delegates for your active participation and invaluable contribution in this forum. I also thank all distinguished panelists and facilitators of the panel discussions. My gratitude also extend to members of the media for attending our activities. Before concluding, allow me to offer my own personal expression of thanks and appreciation to my co-workers and dedicated staff and all those other colleagues who have made possible the smooth running of this 11th Bali Democracy Forum. Can I ask all the staff to stand up and we give them a big applause. Some are still working, by the way, outside this hall. With that, I declare the 11th Bali Democracy Forum officially closed. Thanks God, it's Friday. So, all participants, please enjoy your stay and possible prolong your stay in Bali, enjoying everything offered by Bali. So, with that, selamat jalan, safe trip back home, au revoir, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi, and thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Excellency. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the closing session of the 11th Bali Democracy Forum for Democracy for Prosperity here in Nusa Dua, Bali, Indonesia, which has been conducted from the 6th to 7th December 2018. Thank you very much once again for your great participation and hope to see you in the next Bali Democracy Forum. And for some housekeeping arrangement, we would also like to inform you that there will be Friday prayer arranged at the mezzanine in Kintamani Room 1. To those who would like to observe and join the Friday prayer, it will be provided at Kintamani Room 1 at the mezzanine. We would also like to inform you that lunch for the participants of the Bali Democracy Forum will be provided at Nusa Dua Hall 4, next room.